Welcome back, everybody. We're here again. It's another Film Club weekend brought to you by my friend Groot and myself. It's me again, Carson Higgins. And we're here talking about our 103rd pick in the Filmstruck Film Club, Claude Berri's The Two of Us. I think this is going to be a really short review, you guys, because this movie is so good. It's so good. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll fill you in just a moment. But I will say, for those of you who did get a chance to see this film, or if you had seen it before, then you already know what I'm talking about. If there was a list of the top 10 sweetest movies, this is definitely on that list. I don't know where it goes, but it's definitely right there. I mean, I had a feeling it was going to be cute. I had a feeling I was going to feel something, have a nice it says heartwarming right on the poster. And it certainly was that. A dear friend of mine, my acting teacher, Kathleen Leslie. Hi, Kathy. She actually commented when I posted that we were going to be watching this film this week that it's her favorite film of all time. And so, Kathy, you put pretty high expectations on me, but I was not disappointed. This movie is so good. And let's just go right into it. Let's get some of this stuff going. I will say our director, Claude Berri, it's his very first film. This is his debut feature film. He had won an Academy Award, I believe the year prior, for a short film called Les Poulets. It's about a little boy who is trying to get a rooster to lay eggs. And that sounds adorable. It is on the Criterion edition of The Two of Us, so if you have the Criterion collection and that's how you're going to be watching this film, the short is right there and available for you to check out, and it is very cute. But yeah, I was doing a little research after watching this film, and I saw that French cinema folks were kind of baffled when they heard about The Two of Us coming out, because they had no idea who this director was, but they certainly knew who its star was, Michel Simon. Michel Simon was an old man when this film got created, but he was a huge star in France. He was one of the most well-respected actors in France. And he hadn't worked in ages. Everybody was dying for this guy to be in another movie, and some nobody got him to be the star of his movie. So apparently this was rather the hype beast, as the kids say. People were stoked for this movie. And rightly so, because I didn't even know that I knew who Michel Simon was, but we have actually seen him on screen in this very club. My man Michel Simon was in The Passion of Joan of Arc, which was one of our earliest picks that we watched in this club, and he's in that film. He's also in the, I believe it's Jean Vigo film, L'Atlantique. I don't know how to say it, and I've never seen it, but I do know that it's a classic on that Sight and Sound poll that I love to talk about. L'Atlantique, forgive me if that's not how you say it, is like number 12 on that list. So this guy is in some of, best films ever made, and he hasn't worked in a long time, and then boom, he drops into this film. It's a semi-autobiographical tale about Claude Berri's childhood. The film was made or released in 1967, and it is about his time in France during World War II. So it takes place in the 40s, and it stars this 8-year-old boy. It was his very first film, and he's fantastic in it. His name is Alain Cohen, and he basically plays Claude Berri as a child. And this is the premise of the movie. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is basically the pitch for the movie. A little 8-year-old Jewish boy is sent to the countryside during the war to go live with an old Catholic couple, so that he can disguise himself as a Catholic child and can be out of danger during the occupation of France. However, this old couple that he's staying with, the old man, is an anti-Semite. And so we have a little bit of combative energy to go into this with. I will say, if you haven't seen the film, it does have a little bit of like Jojo Rabbit or Hunt for the Wilder People. It's basically a Taika Waititi movie, but Yeah, if you've seen Hunt for the Wilder People or even Jojo Rabbit has very strong thematic connections with this film, given that it's also World War II and deals with Nazis and anti-Semitism and prejudice and things like that. But Hunt for the Wilder People, right, is the little kid who's now in the wilderness with this guy who doesn't really want to be with him. This is kind of the opposite. This old man, we call him Grandpa, Pepe, throughout the film, and he often will voice his opinion about how he thinks that the war is the Jews' fault, the Bolsheviks and the Freemasons and the British, it's all their fault. And he's got all sorts of, very horrible prejudice ideas about Jewish people. And the wonderful thing about the relationship that we see in this film is that the little boy is, he even says in like a little voiceover at the beginning that he's like acutely aware of what is going on, that it's not lost on him that people don't like Jews, that they're being persecuted, that this Hitler is a bad dude. And this kid is very much aware of all this. And I love, before we ever go to the countryside, we see him as just such a Dennis the Menace, little Bart Simpson. We see him sneaking cigarettes with other little kids. We see him getting in trouble, stealing toys from a toy shop and stuff. And that first scene in the toy shop, there's some excellent, the whole film's in black and white, but this deep focus, black and white, beautiful photography that we're seeing, I was just like, oh, this guy, in the first scene, I was already kind of taken aback by just the technical elements in this film. And then you're just so swept into this beautifully heartwarming story of these two individuals. And it's really cute watching how once we are in the countryside and we are spending the majority of our time with Pepe, little Claude is hearing all of this horrible stuff about Jewish people, and he's constantly asking Pepe about Jews because he's curious to know what he thinks about them, given that he doesn't know that he is Jewish. There's this great scene where they go to Mass, and it's another great technical element of the film where we're looking way up at the priest, and then we get it over the shoulder of the priest looking way down at the crowd, and it's giving that kind of power dynamic. But what the priest is talking about is how, as Christians, we need to be on the side of the oppressed, no matter who the oppressor is, and that, Jesus was a Jew, and that we should embrace our Jewish brothers and sisters and take care of each other. And you just watch Pepe kind of squirming in the church, and right after Mass, he goes, I don't think I'm going to let her drag me to Mass anymore. He's over it now that he's, the priest is getting political. And the kid, lovingly is like, well, was Jesus a Jew? He's like, I guess that's what they say. He's like, well, if Jesus is a Jew, then God is a Jew. And watching Pepe kind of deal with that is just this, we see it throughout the film where the kid is kind of forcing Pepe to kind of question his prejudices that he's had for so long. And there's this great random shot that's just thrown in, and I forget if it's that scene or a different part, but where we cut to Claude doing a little backward somersault in bed and with a big old smile, and then we cut away from it. And I took that as just showing the audience that he's playing with him. He's aware of what he's trying to draw out of Pepe, because he loves him and he knows that, even if Pepe were to find out that Claude was Jewish, he'd probably accept him and still not like Jews, like in theory, but that this one's okay. There's, Michel Simon won the Silver Bear Award at the Berlin Film Festival for Best Actor, and rightly so. I don't even know what else came out that year, but this is one of my favorite acting performances of all time. I'm looking at these notes, and honestly, I don't want to spoil any of it for you, because you must sit and watch this movie. You must let it go into your heart, and you'll see why it's just so worth your time. I wanted to just finish up real quick with a quote from the end of Roger Ebert's 4-star review of this film. Because we do, the nice thing too, and I will say this, is any story with a little kid and an old mentor, you're nervous usually heading towards the third act that you're going to have to say goodbye to someone. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will say that they handle the ending very well. And though it hurts a little bit, the scrolling dialogue that reads at the beginning of the film that lets you know that this is semi-autobiographical, and that our director and our storyteller feels kind of a fond nostalgia for this time period and these people that he spent his war years with. So we already know that the kid grows up to be a filmmaker and pay his loving respect to this situation. So we do know that it grows into a happy ending. That's all I'm going to say about that. But so Roger Ebert gave this film 4 stars, and this was the end of his review. And I thought it was interesting. I wanted to share it with you. Claude learns that anti-Semitism is an evil, but he learned to forgive some of the Pepes of the world, for they know not what they do. For those who do know, forgiveness is another question, but that's another movie. So I'll leave you with that, because I do think that it's interesting to point out that this film is not so much about showing you why you shouldn't be anti-Semitic or prejudiced to anyone. It's more about how we can form bonds in spite of those prejudices. So I implore you, please take some time. It's a breeze of a movie. It just flies right by. It's an hour and a half. You're gonna love it. Go check it out. We'll have another pick up, so enjoy this one for now. We'll have another film for us to watch soon. Go ahead and like and comment, subscribe if you don't already on the YouTube channel, and, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You know where to find us, honey. We love you. Groot loves you. And, we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend, y'all.